Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Gauntlet, your place for NFL talk on the Sideline Sports Network. We have a lot of stuff to get into tonight. Obviously, we're going to talk about everything that's going on in the NFL. We're going to talk about last week Kansas City Chiefs game versus New York Jets. Controversial pass interference on Sauce Gardner. Yeah, buddy, we're gonna talk about that one. We're gonna have our Gauntlet Grinders, Sports Morons of the Week, etc. Step into the Gauntlet. It should be very, very fun tonight. So, without further ado, Jay, you can bring the rest of the crew on. What's
What up?
going on,
What
man?
up? What up? What up? Doing all right. How
How
y'all
are you?
doing, man?
Good, good. Dom in the
Yo,
house. JoJo, what's up, guys? How are we tonight?
That's what's
still
up.
in first
That's what's
place.
up.
JoJo acting different with that hat.
Is that a Ravens hat?
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
baby.
you know
You
it
got the
Dolphins.
is.
Ravens
Like
hat.
you know
Coworkers.
it is.
Woo!
Like you know it is.
Okay. Okay, Joseph.
They did the thing with the thing against Cleveland, so yeah. And then you know who you got on Sunday. So you don't stop,
Sure.
man. Ravens got to keep it rolling.
They do. They do.
Wow, they beat. Wait, who's their backup? Oh, homeboy from UCLA.
All right,
Honestly,
Dorian
guys.
Thompson or something like that. Yeah, something
Before we
hyphenated.
start, hold on.
That's an
Before we start,
asterisk. Sorry, JoJo.
before we go ahead and start the show, tragic news in the NFL, especially for Chicago Bears. Lost the legend Dave Buckus, was obviously a crucial part of their 1985 championship team. One of the best defensive of all time.
He wasn't playing then.
no,
played-
not that one. Not that one.
was
Certainly
not.
not.
Okay, my bad. But anyway, Dick Butkus.
It was so long
R.I.P.,
ago. We can't remember.
Does anybody have any thoughts?
I'll keep it short. Just like I said last night on Pun This Fun It. The modern day linebacker was modeled after Dick Butkus. He was voted the most feared linebacker in 2009. As you can see, he was this back when you actually was still voted by your peers, but he's a two-time DPOY. What's up, Cowboy X Factor? He was a 5-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. He's on a lot of people's Mount Rushmores as far as greatest linebackers ever. Thoughts and prayers to his family. The sport definitely not. Sports in general. I'm not just gonna say football. Sports in general lost a legend.
Sure, guys, for sure. Very sad, but at least the Chicago Bears got a win last night. I think this must have motivated them to try to get a win in honor to Dick Butkus. But as we start every show, guys, sports morons of the week this week. Dom or Joseph or anybody want to start?
That is
All right. Does anybody want to start us off?
I will
First-
start.
I just gotta say that's
Unless you
forever
want to, JoJo.
Well, I don't want to say anything. I was just about to say that's forever my favorite intro.
Yeah,
Sports moron
you gotta
is-
run the video, man.
The only thing that could best the Tyler clip was that one. Like I thought
No,
we had
you know
attained
what? I think that what I like about it is it's not me. Like I feel like I was clearly disgusted, but John Shear was also very, very disgusted.
I'll be honest with you. His whole face made it for me. It really did.
Yeah.
We love John, man.
I've never seen John look meaner.
Never guessed.
He was like this. He was like this. Oh my god! I can't believe this thing
John was
was
like,
this.
"What the hell
Oh
is
my
this guy
god!
talking
This
about?"
nigga such-" And James is just like, this nigga.
I wanted to walk out the room. If I'm being real, I wanted to just leave at that moment.
Man. All right.
But anyway,
who's got-
guys, Dom, you can go ahead and start.
Okay. It's not technically of the week, and it's also a layup because I feel like this guy is starting to show up in this segment regularly. I would say he's the new Ben Simmons of this season. It's Chris Sims, and it's in reference to the brotherly shove. What's the other name for it? The tush push.
Yeah.
This man, and this is a direct quote. Marcellus Wiley dug it up, and I quote: "This is Chris Sims. If I was a defensive coach, I'd be going, go head hunting on the quarterback here. Go ahead, let him have it. Dive over, go crazy. Try to kill the quarterback. That's what I would do." And I'm not saying anything else because as a professional sports commentator, you get paid to do this, and you're not only wishing injury, but death upon a quarterback. And we know how much he hates and tries to minimize Jalen Hurts, but Chris Sims, you went too far.
Coming from a quarterback himself, that's what's so funny. You would think he's about
who got
protecting his
a
own
career-ending
butt.
injury.
So, like, at this point, nobody should even be surprised this guy's saying dumb stuff. Like, I was
The
actually
only thing more
I was
overrated
actually
than
digging
Chris
up.
Sims as a commentator.
I was actually
his
digging
father
up
as a pro
old
player.
tweets, like old tweets from Chris Sims. There was an old tweet from January, like during the NFL playoffs, where Chris Sims said that he would rather have Daniel Jones than Jalen Hurts as a passer. He's like, well, Daniel Jones is
That's
a better
the one that I
passer.
started looking for originally.
Guy has
but
2
I realized
touchdowns
how
and
old
6
it was.
interceptions, but you want to talk to me about being a great passer? Like,
Yeah.
anyway.
Chris, like he's been doing this for multiple years now. Like he puts out lists,
He's a
like
shock
player
value
rankings
guy.
lists that are terrible, just so people will give attention to them.
You know,
He's a
at
shock
some
value
point in
guy.
time, like if nobody knew anything about, you know, sports or sports commentating, they would think Chris Sims was satire. They would think that he's like a satire site or something. Because he cannot be serious, you know.
He
But
got a job basically because his dad is Phil Sims.
basically, that's it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, Jay, do you have one?
Absolutely. So my sports moron of the week goes to Giants offensive tackle Evan Neal. He criticized his own fans for booing during the Monday Night Football game, and he told them to boo louder. And he called them fair weather fans. Now listen, I know that sometimes New York can have a reputation of having fair weather fans, okay? But may I remind you that your team lost 24-3. You look like a junior college team. You look like you didn't belong on your own field. May I remind people that in the last month, twice the Giants had primetime games. You know how many total points they put up? 3. Primetime games at home, 3 points. They most definitely were booing your performance. This is not, as of right now, last year's Giants. That shocked the world and made the playoffs, okay? Then the inevitable happened and they got eliminated by Philly. Like no one saw that coming, right? But
Well, I would say this to you when it comes to the Giants. I actually do think they're the same team as last year. And that's the problem. The only difference is last year, how many games did they play? How many close games did they play where they got lucky and they came out on the
you
other
got a
side?
point.
Now
You
it's
got a
pretty
point.
much back to default settings.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
You
like
know?
the ball's not bouncing their way.
I mean,
You know?
they're the same team minus one player that was a very important player to the reason why they were so good last year.
Yeah.
and who would that be?
Obviously the running back, the guy that ended up getting hurt after game one. But at least if he
Saquon.
played these other games, I would have given them a better chance at maybe making them competitive or maybe stealing one.
Their starting left tackle
I
has
don't
been
know if
banged
he
up
would
too.
make that much of a difference.
I don't know, man.
You know, it's you get ran off of your own field. I mean, I get it. The Seahawks are tough. The Cowboys are a division game, but you can't even put up a touchdown. You can't even put up 2 field goals, Mr. Neal. That's why your
They
fans
have
are booing
9 points. They have 9 points in the first half all year.
all
I
year.
mean, to be honest with you, the team has 46 points, 4 games this year.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the explosion that they had against the Arizona Cardinals. If you take away that game, all the other games, they scored like 15 points combined.
Yeah,
So,
most of their points.
That's
came
not
in
good.
the Arizona game.
That's not good at all. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all I got though. JJ. Or
JJ, you
James?
didn't have one?
No, I don't. You go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna try to break this down for you guys. But I was watching the Sunday night football game the other night between the Jets and
Chiefs.
the Jets and the Chiefs. Okay, Rodney Harrison post game interview. He's talking to our guy Chris Jones, who obviously is an outstanding player for the Chiefs. He asked him a question, basically, blah blah blah. Do you think Zach Wilson is trash? Do you think he's garbage? Do you think he sucks? Like all this kind of stuff. Like, well, on tape he's garbage. On tape he sucks, and like he just keeps going and he keeps trying to push it. And he basically was just trying to bait Chris into saying something really controversial about Zach Wilson. And credit to Chris for not doing that. But the thing that I have an issue with Rodney is, obviously he played in the league for a long time, was such a great player on those early Patriot teams. A lot of people remember, Tom Brady for how great he was, but those teams were great on defense.
Mm-hmm.
But Rodney, man, you're a professional. You're in the media now. You represent NBC, Sunday Night Football, and NBC. This is who you represent now. So you can't do stuff like fans do. Like anyone in the media, even us, shouldn't get on this show on the Sideline Sports Network platform and say so-and-so is trash, so-and-so sucks, is garbage, stuff like that. And let alone try to bait another guy into trying to say something, and then he doesn't go for it, and you keep pushing 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 for it. It's just very unprofessional, I think, by Rodney. And that's not the type of stuff you should be trying to do.
He's a douche.
You got to be better than that.
He was a douche when he was
Harrison,
a player.
I did not think that was acceptable whatsoever.
Yeah, especially since if you look at the stats, Zach Wilson was actually the better quarterback that night.
He played a good game.
So and I mean, I know by Zach Wilson standards, that's the game of his life, but let's call it he was the better quarterback that night. And it should have been a third. Oh, wait, we'll get to that later.
Hey, you know what? It may only be a good game for his standards, but if I'm a Jets fan, I have to walk away from this game feeling happy because
yeah.
It was good.
It's not the first time this year that Mahomes got outplayed by a lesser quarterback either.
There was good signs to take away from Zach, and potentially you can build on it, and it gives Zach more confidence and the team more confidence. So I think it's actually going to be good for the team going forward.
So it was very unprofessional. I will give you that. But I will say this. I don't have a problem that you have that opinion of Zach Wilson. Just remember on TV and just say it in the way that you would say it on TV, as opposed to you were in player mode. That's all I read from that. You literally was in player mode, because I wouldn't put it past Chris Jones to actually feel that way. I wouldn't say it because he's on camera. Because at the end of the day, much like what Chris was doing is what we were expecting Rodney to do. If Rodney could have been like, yeah, man, he looked really good against you guys, but I know you guys had the problem. Did you guys come in thinking that you've seen the last couple games with him, you've seen his history? Did you really think that this was going to turn into the game that you thought it was because of who the quarterback was? You still basically saying the guy's not good. The guy's not that great. But like as he kept baiting him, it sounded like he was still in player mode. It really sounded like he was in player mode. But that's really unprofessional when you are on the screen. But what is interesting about that is that I think it's maybe the platform and context is Sunday Night Football, game-winning platform. Everybody's watching, because if you're in the daytime, you see it all the time. You see guys calling other people horrible, trash, garbage. Sports pundits do it all the time. But the context is different and the setting is different because it's during the daytime, it's during the media day, nobody's really paying attention. So it's different. It's the same thing, but it's just different. I think that also played into the role right here.
Completely agree, Joseph. So moving on, guys, it's time for the Gauntlet Grinders. Looking at some of the best performances from around the league this week. Joseph, do you want to go ahead and start us off?
Absolutely. We'll go right with this guy we were just talking about, Mr. Zach. Oh, no, they lost. But they lost.
It doesn't matter.
No, they lost, but it's still a grinder for me because I will say he surprised me.
Okay.
I will
That's a lot of
say,
people.
I will say he handled it very, very well. Their defense we knew was going to come to play, but I can see why. And the thing is, like, it's starting to be like Soleil's like, got to be patient. But they always say New York media is crazy, but this guy continued to push through. And I do believe what they said is that he's unfazed by it. I think a younger Zach Wilson, before Aaron Rodgers got there, probably would have reacted and lost his mind and been crazy. But I think since somebody like Aaron Rodgers, who's been through the fire himself, probably got this kid prepared. Like, look, whatever happens before, anything after, whatever this media is going to say, focus on what you can control, which is how to get better and whatever you made a mistake in. So shout out to Zach Wilson and trying to get that grind and get that going. And then he very well is a chance. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know. But my grinder for the NFC is the number one running back in the game who has seemed to be just taking everything and just doing everything he can with it. If he doesn't win MVP, he is without a doubt the top front runner for Offensive Player of the Year, and that's Christian McCaffrey. And yet another good victory and another grind out way to have his team get to arguably, possibly, if you want to look from top to bottom, the best team in the NFL right now.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go to Dom next.
That was a lot just for me to say Christian McCaffrey.
AFC. I'm gonna save one for Jay. Hopefully he makes the right choice. So my AFC grinders, Stephon Diggs, 6 catches, 120 yards, 3 TDs. Things are looking much better in Buffalo. Josh Allen also had a great game. I believe 4 touchdown passes along with 1 rushing.
Yep.
I mean, when they're on, that's a top 2 or 3 quarterback wide receiver combo in the NFL. And then in the NFC, I've got my guy, Monty, David Montgomery, 33 carries, 121 yards, 3 TDs, 2 catches, 20 yards, and he wasn't 100%. We just ran all over Green Bay, as I expect us to do.
He froze at the end. What'd you say last, Dom?
I said, make the right choice.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I guess it's on me now. So, my AFC Gauntlet Grinder, Dom, you're going to love this one. And it's our guy, Nico Collins. For the Houston Texans, 7 receptions for 168, 2 touchdowns, including the dagger in the fourth quarter, 24.0 yards per catch. CJ Stroud is spreading the ball. Everyone's getting a little bit of love. You see, last week it was Tank Dell, and this week it was Nico Collins. This is what I wanted. This is one, and see, to me, this is going to be one of the questions: is do the Texans go out there and get a legitimate number 1 receiver in the draft next year, or do they let the core that they have right now grow together? It's anybody's guess, but it's fair to say that as of right now, the Texans look good, especially this guy, Nico Collins. And my NFC grinder is going to be the entire Seattle Seahawks defense. In that domination win on Monday Night Football, you know, the one Evan Neal had criticized the fans for booing? Yeah, that one. They forced 3 turnovers, including a pick 6 when the Giants could have got back into the game. 2 fumbles, and they dropped number 8. I'm not even going to call him by his name. They dropped number 8 for the Giants 10 times. This was a flash to the past. This was the closest to a Legion of Boom performance from the past that we have seen. Big shout out to Pete Carroll and the crew. Seahawks looking good. I don't have them winning the division, but I can see them going back to the playoffs, especially with this defense. And also get well soon to Jamal Adams. First game back, and he got kneed in the head and got a concussion. Hopefully he's okay.
I just want to say, Mr. Sir, yes, I'm glad that CJ Stroud is spreading it around. But God dang it, my props is not happy about that, because when I think I take Nico Collins because of what he did, here comes Tank Dell. So I take Tank Dell this week, here comes back Nico Collins. And I'm just like, CJ, pick a favorite target. Every rookie quarterback has a favorite target. Pick the target and leave it there. Sheesh, I can win some money.
All right.
JT, it's on you, man.
Go ahead, James. What you got, boss?
Actually, I have a few.
I know you
So, obviously, great picks, by the way, everyone. I obviously have to consider Josh Allen for an outstanding performance against the Miami Dolphins, a team that everyone was talking about. Everyone was raving about how great this team is. And you know what? They're still going to continue to be a great team. I think we know that, but I think the Bills took the game personally. Like Michael Jordan out there saying, I took that personally. They took it personally, man. All the talk, the stuff about Miami, like, is this the best team in the league? And they reminded the world how good this team can be. So I think the Bills' success is going to come down to Josh Allen. We saw Josh Allen week 1, and we were like, oh, here comes the turnovers. Fumbling the ball, throwing interceptions. He threw 3 interceptions to the same guy on the Jets. And then we're like, oh, here we go. But ever since then, he's been playing great football. Hasn't been making any mistakes. Hasn't been turning the ball over. And this is the product of Josh Allen and his Bills offense that they can do when he really protects the ball. So I got to say it was an outstanding game with Josh Allen for sure. And Dom, you mentioned Stephon with the 3 touchdowns. Great game for him too. And I'm gonna be biased as well with mine. All 3 of us, pretty much, except JJ. He didn't pick anybody from the Ravens, but I gotta say, give respect to AJ Brown and what he is doing. These last 2 games, he has been outstanding. He's been unstoppable. Should have had 200+ yards receiving. There was a play in overtime. Hurts and AJ not on the same page, but that should have been a touchdown to AJ Brown to end it in overtime. Instead, the Eagles win on the foot at a 54-yard field goal from Jake Elliott. But AJ Brown has been amazing. 300+ yards the last 2 games. 2 touchdowns in this game. He is playing great football right now and reminding the world that AJ is one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, and he told the world that there was no
Jake
beef.
Elliott. He has more points than the Giants.
He does.
He
AJ Brown told the world that there was no beef between him and Jalen Hurts. Ever since that discussion on the sideline, AJ Brown has gone off.
Well, Jalen said that happens all the time. He's like, you just caught at that one moment and stuff.
He lost a lot of
people
targets.
made more of a big deal than they should.
I will say about the Dolphins. The Dolphins have this is the 2nd year in a row that when they do something that everybody puts them on the pedestal, this is what happened. It happens to Buffalo because last year, what happened that really put them on the map? It was at the expense of my team, but what happened? That comeback from 28 down, 6 touchdowns. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, Miami!" Then they get into a dogfight with Buffalo, and then just after 70-point victory, they get back to Buffalo, and then next thing you know, it's not the same.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? To your
that was not a dog fight. That was a dog walking.
Yeah, and to your point about when Jalen Hurts said it happens all the time, and that's the point right there. It's like we see what happens on Sunday or Thursday night or Monday night or whatever. We may see snippets of practice if we're lucky during the week. But what we don't see is what happens in practice and in the film room. There probably are tons of discussions or whatever. But as you can see, this is what made the team stronger. A.J. Brown's been going off. The Eagles are still undefeated. So, honestly, it's a non-issue. Teams do this all the time. They're already – not only are they competitive against other teams, they're competitive against each other.
Look, all 4 of us are confident and very confident men is how we speak and how about things we do, right?
Right.
Now imagine how NFL players are confident in themselves. If we're this confident and we go back and forth with each other,
it's an ego-driven sport, and they're getting paid. Yeah, and they're getting paid like millions. So I honestly would be a little bit concerned if they didn't go through this stuff because nothing is that perfect. Nothing is ever that perfect. If you ain't go through these things, you're not going to be connecting for 200 yards every single game. You're going to have a bad game at some point in time, which then causes frustration. It's weird to think that these guys can't have beef with one another and get along.
Yeah, so sidebar on this before I close this out and move to the next segment. The NFL actually made a quote-unquote random drug test for A.J. Brown. And there was literally at his locker, not even the next day, the next week, whatever. It was literally a notice that he was being tested for a random drug test. Congratulations, A.J. Brown. You've been selected for a random drug test after putting up 175 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. Like, can we at least
how you
try
know
to
you balled
not
out.
make it? Can we at
So does
least
that
try
mean?
to
but
not
you know
make it
what?
obvious?
Does
But
that
you
mean?
know what?
Does that mean DJ Moore about to get one?
He already did.
He
already
should.
did.
He
Oh, but
should. If AJ gets one,
He really did.
DJ should get one.
DJ Moore did. Yes. Hold on. Let me put it back up.
You kidding
Put
me?
it back up.
He really got a drug test after
He got
that?
drug. Yes, after last
The
night's
NFL
game.
is just making it too obvious at this point, bro.
They're
That's
making it too
You at least
obvious.
gotta have some shame and try to hide it.
But if Mahomes goes off for
Why ain't they
500 yards, guess who's not getting drug
Why
tested?
ain't they drug
They know
test?
what they're doing.
Why ain't they drug test Zach Wilson for just having this great game that you didn't expect it to have?
Well, I mean,
What's funny is even last year the same thing happened.
That
When
wasn't a
AJ
great
Brown
game.
played against his former team, the Titans, he absolutely torched them, got drug tested again. This week, got drug tested again. So I'm just like, can you guys at least try to make this not so obvious? That's all I got to say about that.
What is he like 6'4", 235?
AJ is like 6. I want to say
That should be a Gauntlet award. We should start
Yeah, it
keeping track
wasn't-
of
I don't
these.
think he's that tall. I think he's only like 6'2" or something.
But he's that strong. He's
But
big.
he's a
strong.
beast.
he just you know what? I think he does go about 6'2". I think the reason why people see him taller is because he got mad hops.
Yeah.
So
When AJ gets the ball, like he's so
AJ Brown?
strong. He's so strong and like hard to bring down. He's like it's like he turns into a running
Yes.
back as soon as he
Wasn't
catches
it
the ball.
against-
was the,
hey, wasn't it against the
Well, it's
Titans?
'cause Devontae
Hurts
Smith
threw
is
him that.
5'5".
Hey, wasn't it against the Titans last year? Hurts threw that lob and he high pointed it on 3 Titan
Yeah.
defenders.
Yep. He torched him. He torched his former team, and then the next day, the GM that traded him got fired. So that was
Exactly. Drug test Goodell.
That was
Oh,
amazing.
after that
You
one, he
won't find a
caught
whole
it.
lot
'cause
in
he
his
double
system.
covered, he went-
that was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. But we don't got time to be. We can talk all night. You guys know I can talk about AJ Brown all night long, but I want to talk about the Sunday night game last week. To me, my first reaction was this is an egregious call by the refs. To call this play on Sauce Gardner, the receiver pretty much has his arms like locked up with him. So Sauce has to like try to extend his arm to get out of it. And if you watch the replay, you can like clearly see that. And then they're like, nope, this is pass interference. Throw the flag. So I feel like I hate to really blame refs when it comes to games. But guys, this is a play that you throw a flag on. This literally decided the game. Like I really think the Jets, if they get the stop there, they literally have a great chance to win this, possibly win this game. But the game is in the hands of the officials. It was a bad call. I think the Jets really should have won this game, but a lot of these calls just didn't go in their favor. So I think it was just some really bad officiating. What do you guys think?
Well, one thing that I do want to point out is they actually have been letting them play all game. They tell you in sports, get to know the referees before you go out there and play, because you got some of them that'll let you play and some of them that'll call everything, you know. But apparently they had been letting them play, and then they waited until that time to make that call. This is also reminiscent of the Super Bowl last year when the same thing happened. This is also going to, and shout out to our guy Tyler Ingram. I'm sorry for bringing this up, but I'm making it a point. 2021 NFC Championship game, the late pass interference on Kevin King to seal the game for the Buccaneers. Listen, after letting them play all game long, you cannot make that call. Now, I'm going to get on my tinfoil hat BS, and I'm going to say, look here. The NFL can't let the golden boy lose on primetime to Zach freaking Wilson. That's what this came down to, period. Period. That's what this came down to. Mahomes was looking to throw it was a pick. It would have been his third interception. And on a night,
Jay,
he did not look good.
You mean to tell me with Taylor Swift in the building, they was not going to let the Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs lose?
No, not with Taylor in the building, and especially also on a night where Zach Wilson outplayed Mahomes. The NFL was like, we can't let that happen. The Jets, now listen, I get it, okay? Any coach will tell you never leave a game in the hands of the refs, all right? But at that moment, you cannot make that call. You can't do it after letting them. I can see if you were calling it all game long, then okay. But you wait until that time to do it? Nah, unacceptable.
Tyler said, good point, Jay. No problem bringing up Kevin King, even though we got hosed in that game.
So, what I will say about this, and I will echo exactly what Jay said. It's about, you're not going to let this guy lose because over the course of history, the NFL has done this. This reminds me of 4th and 2, where they knew that Tom
Mostly
Brady
to the
got the
Lions.
first. This happens for you guys are not important enough. Sorry, not saying in a bad way, but I'm just saying, even though you may have had the Megatron catch that turned out to not be a catch. But what I'm saying is this reminds me of 4th and 2, New England versus Indianapolis. I thought they got it, and they definitely got it, but they let and said they did not get it, and they gave the ball back to Manning because Manning had so much time struggling against the Indianapolis Colts, and they've been dying to have Manning finally overtake Brady. It's the same situation. Like we just said, Taylor Swift's in the building. You think she's going to be happy? It's going to be happy for the Swifties to sit there and have the girl come to a game and see her boyfriend's team lose? Come on now.
We don't care about the Swifties, bro.
You don't
It's not
care.
about them.
So, but you have to hold on. But you have to realize this, and this is something we all have to realize this. They're going to be a part of this now as long as she's here because the NFL cares about money, and she's bringing in money. We
the
don't
NFL
care,
cares.
but they do care about this money that she's bringing in. So,
We don't know what's going to happen, bro. They're going to be together for a while. I don't know, a year or however long, and then something's going to happen, and then she's going to write a breakup song about Travis and how he fumbled their relationship on the 1 yard line. Some stupid breakup song.
Probably so,
Yeah.
but that ain't changing what's happening right.
Pretty much what's going to happen, guys.
If she
Probably so, but
tries
that ain't going.
to
Probably
use
so,
the
but that ain't going
football
to change
reference in the lyrics, I swear to God.
Probably so, but she just going.
Well, let me go real quick. I got a lot to unpack, but I'll try to be brief.
Go ahead, Dom.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's all you,
first
baby.
off, that's not even pass interference. That's not even pass interference. That's holding, for one, if that's what you're going to call it. For two, that wasn't Travis Kelce or Cheetah when he was still a Chief. Marcus Valdez-Scantling doesn't have the kind of juice to draw that call. For three, why did they wait so long to throw the flag? You're telling me you're throwing a flag for pass interference with Zach? It's actually holding, and he literally double clutched to wait to see if the Jets defensive back made that interception. And four, like everyone else already said, it reeks of an audible, if you will, by the refs and the league. They don't want to see the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets lose to the defense. Yes, we're not important enough. 100%. You're right. And that's why we always got hosed on those calls. Yeah, just ugh. It's stuff like this that makes me think, no, the NFL is not scripted, but there are certain scenarios where they go to the script. Like, what's supposed to happen? How can we get things back on track?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost as if, let's say Jay-Z and Beyonce split. All of a sudden, she starts dating Amon-Ra St. Brown. Next thing you know, Lions win the Super Bowl.
So look right here. Like, look at the receiver.
That'd be fire.
He basically has his arm hooked to Sauce right here. And then Sauce tries to, push to get unhooked from the dude's arm. But you're going to say this is pass interference. I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
And it was in the first 5 yards.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it should have been defensive
I
holding.
do. It's the Aaron Rodgers-less Jets against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night. We all understand it. We just don't want to admit that it's true again.
Yeah. And it's not fair because, it's going to make like Pat Mahomes he got hate for his wife. He got hate for his brother. He got hate. And we're talking about a genuinely good dude here, right? He got hate for, what was it? Shoot,
Kermit
just
the
for
Frog
winning.
voice,
that's how, Kermit Frog voice, all that stuff. Yeah, and we're talking about a genuinely good dude, man, and he's going to get unfair hate about this. Sure, they should have lost that game. They really should have lost that game.
The best quarterback.
Yeah, Tyler, that's why Rodney Harrison was my sports mark of the week.
But I mean, what can you say? You got one of the top singers in the world dating somebody on, the potential next dynasty, if they aren't a dynasty already, So, I mean, yeah, just like I stand by what I said, they couldn't let the Golden Boy lose on primetime. But damn sure not to Zach Wilson.
In other news, more injuries has continued to ravish the NFL season. So many great players have been getting hurt. Tre White, the star cornerback of the Buffalo Bills, the latest victim with a torn Achilles, guys. It's just absolutely insane to me. I mean, obviously, Trevon Diggs, another outstanding corner, got a torn ACL at practice, not even in a game, but practice. So many great players. Obviously, Rodgers tore his Achilles. It's so bad this season seeing how many guys are getting hurt, and you just really hate to see it because Tre'Davious White he's a good football player at the end of the day. So big blow for the Buffalo Bills guys. But is Buffalo going to be? Do you guys think Buffalo's going to be all right, or is this something that could be a problem for them down the road?
I think they're going to be just fine. They're getting Von Miller back. The defense is still solid. You see what they've been. JT, you've been raving about the Bills defense in the group chat all week long. I think they're going to be just fine. At the end of the day, as long as number 17 is behind center, they've got a fighting chance. Just find a way to beat the Chiefs. That's it. Top to bottom, they're still one of the best teams in the NFL. Unfortunate for Tre White because this came actually less than 2 years after he had torn his ACL and was out, So speedy recovery to him. It's just unfortunate. Like, we are losing these stars, and we're not even like close to halfway through the season yet. We're about a fourth of the way through, and you see all these injuries. You can't help but think, like damn, who's next? But yeah, a big loss, huge loss. But I don't think the Bills will lose stride. They still beat the Dolphins. They're still considered the team to beat in the AFC East. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. JJ, what you got?
I mean, yeah, they beat. I mean, this is the same defense they've had for the last couple of seasons. It's usually next man up for them, and their strongest part of their team is their secondary. Tyreek Johnson, I believe, is still on the team. Dante Jackson, I think, is still on the team, or Kyer Elam is still on the team. Those guys have started off and they failed us. They get a chance to get back, but as long as it's a big loss, but they've been dealing with up and down Nick Tre'Davious White for the last couple of years anyway. So, at the end of the day, I don't think it's really going to hinder them too much. I think, if anything, Buffalo is starting to maybe figure out that they might be even better than they were last year because while they lost people on defense, they're actually starting to run the football. Like, they're actually starting to feed the ball to James Cook, which is making life easier for Josh Allen. And if they do that, that already, in my opinion, presents a stronger team than it was last year.
I think I got to agree.
Mm-hmm. Dom?
Yeah, I don't know what part of the season it was last year, but like JJ said, Tre'Davious White missed 11 games last year, 5 the year before. He hasn't played a healthy season since 2018. Like, he's definitely an elite corner, but obviously they've figured out ways to get along without him. Like, it sucks for them, but I think even without him, they're still the best team in the AFC East. I don't know why. I mean, it's early in the season. People like to overreact. People are like, oh, is Miami the best team in the league? Guess what? They're not even the best team in their division. And this doesn't change that.
As long as Buffalo has that pass rush.
Sucks for them, but they'll be okay.
Losing a corner with a pass rush is kind of like a moat. It just cancels out because even a new corner can get interceptions if a quarterback is thrown for his life.
Yeah, so that about wraps it up here, guys. So time to step into the gauntlet. Time to do some rapid fire stuff. We are on the clock. Starting, I'm going to start at the 40-minute mark. We're going to have 60 seconds to go through some takes starting now. So if the Pittsburgh Steelers miss the playoffs, guys, Mike Tomlin should be fired.
No.
Yes.
Dom?
No. No.
I'm also going to have to go with yes here. I think that when you look at the Steelers, he's been there for such a long time. How much more can they achieve with him? And sometimes it's just, after you have a coach for so long, sometimes it's good to bring in like a new face and kind of like go into a new direction. So I just think that I think the Steelers need a lot of changes in their organization. So I'm going to go with yes.
Mhm.
All right. Next up, Josh McDaniels should get fired at the end of this season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm also going to go with
Yeah.
yes.
I'm going to say
on that.
no because they shouldn't wait till the end of the season.
Got it. I knew I was going to go that
Okay,
route too.
well, I'm still counting that one as a yes. All right.
Yeah.
Next up, Daniel Jones needs to get benched.
Oh man. As a watcher of football, yes. Business wise, no. They just paid him that big deal, and they're not gonna.
You gotta
They're not.
agree.
They're
That's
not
where I'm
going
at.
to pay nobody 180 million to sit on the bench. Jones ain't going nowhere unless he gets hurt.
So it's like, do I take the heat of having him start with the possibility that he could maybe win a game or two, or do I take the heat of having this guy being like the biggest bust of us, paying this much money to get benched, and now we're riding with something that still look just as bad as if it would be with him?
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think
Dom?
so. I don't think so.
Dom?
I say yes because I just looked to see who the backup is, and it's Tyrod Taylor. I mean, it doesn't like Jay said, it doesn't make business sense, but they got to do something.
Right.
All right. Let's see here.
It just
Last
hurts me
one.
because now we're gonna have to pay. We're gonna have to pay Goff more than Daniel Jones.
For sports bets purposes, if Tyrod Taylor was to start, I better find out who his favorite target is, because I know that's all he's going to throw to with that offensive line that they got. He's going to have to run for his life and throw it to his security blanket and stare them down.
Mhm.
Last one, guys. The Carolina Panthers should have taken CJ Stroud with the number 1 overall pick, not Bryce Young.
Disagree.
Disagree.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with Bryce Young. I don't think there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with him.
I think the issues are more team wide, and besides that, I mean, just like Tyler would say, small sample size. We've seen quarterbacks, improve after really slow starts. So I still say give them a chance.
Dom.
I remain firmly on the fence because I would have taken neither, because midget from Alabama and Ohio State quarterback. But no matter if you were going to take a quarterback at all, you don't trade away your best receiver,
Which they did. Well, I gotta disagree with you guys on this. I'm going with CJ Stroud. It's more to do with CJ Stroud than it is to Bryce Young. I think that his skill set is better for the NFL than Bryce Young. I think his size and his physical attributes is better in the NFL. I think his arm is better than the NFL. I just think he's just was a more polished prospect, and he was more ready to start. I think Bryce just needs more time to develop. But if you're asking me, if I was a team with the number 1 pick and these were 2 quarterbacks, I'm definitely taking CJ Stroud, even before the success they had this season.
All right.
All right, guys. So time for the non-sports
I
topic.
couldn't be happier.
What were you going to say?
Couldn't be happier for anyone more than Jay and the Texans to see Stroud break the trend.
The Texans are going in a good direction. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at what they've done. As much as we love the Jaguars, and we were talking about how this team could really be dangerous at AFC, they're not. They're not looking good. The Colts, the Titans. Who knows? Like, who knows what could happen? I think Houston has a chance to win their division if they continue to play well.
I guess why I wouldn't say I don't really say yes to CJ Stroud or Bryce Young because I don't have any expectations of them other than just trying to get through the season and learn how to play football anyway. So whether they go 16-0 and Bryce Young goes 0-16, regardless of that, I'm not judging what they're going to be like based off of this season. Because, for example, if we will say it though, Dak Prescott had a great rookie year, and then look at how people are considering him now. Inversely, Joe Burrow had a bad rookie year or didn't have the best rookie year, and look
Team's
at who
hurt.
he is now. So it's like either way, the expectation, in my opinion, to me is not there. I think I'm looking at, is he making the right throws or can he make the throws? And I think thankfully maybe they have had better chances to win in their games who they faced, but I don't think that Bryce Young is a bad.
Ooh, good question.
I wouldn't really.
Okay. Before we move to the non-sports segment, I'm going to present this question to you, Joseph.
Why me? But okay, go ahead.
What's the question? Awkward silence.
What's the question?
The drama is building.
Oh, he froze. That's what it was. All right. So I guess until he comes back on.
But I have plenty of time for
But
once.
But you know what?
And at the same time, I think it's something to say because I knew once DeMeco Ryans got there, the culture instantly changes, and maybe these guys are responding better to that culture and what maybe CJ Stroud's bringing, or maybe this just taking a little bit longer for Carolina to turn it around. But Carolina hasn't exactly been out of games. They had a chance to beat Minnesota. They had a chance to beat New Orleans. Like they just haven't had a chance to get over the hump.
Yeah, it's true. And you know what? To your point, because I know you're saying like, well, you know, we're kind of looking at the Texans and them figuring out how to play football. But I will say this much, and not just for the Texans, but for the rest of the teams in the division, is you all got young teams, and it helps playing in the second worst division in the league, right? You know, so
yeah.
I mean, it kind of helps. I mean, it is what it is.
Right, exactly. Looking based upon your division rivals, if you can call, those are the two worst divisions in football.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the rosters are roughly the same. Like, is anyone going to come out here and say that Tank Dell and Nico Collins are, you know, appreciably better than the guys on the Panthers wide receivers? No.
Yeah, I mean,
and like you know,
people think Carolina is good, and I don't know why.
Not necessarily think that they're
back. I'm back. My camera literally spazzed out. I don't know what happened.
You had a question for Joseph. What happened?
But my question to Joseph was going to be, my question was this. Throw out everything what you said and think of it from a GM perspective. And you're a team that needs a quarterback. You're looking at these guys and you're saying, okay, I need a quarterback that can really be effective in the NFL. Would you take Bryce or would you take CJ?
But am I speaking on my personal opinion or if I was the Carolina GM? Because the original question was, if you were to take back that pick again, would you take?
So who would you take?
Just a GM.
You would still take Bryce?
I wouldn't have no problem taking Bryce.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to ask. But anyway, the question of tonight is going to be about marijuana legalization. So this has been a controversial topic. Other people around the United States all view it differently. Some people really think it. Some people really think it should be legal, and other people think that it shouldn't be for whatever reason. I really don't see why it shouldn't be legal. I think a lot of places it basically is legal. Some states it's actually legal, but a lot of places it's very much decriminalized to the point where it's like, yeah, like I don't really see a problem with that. There's benefits to it. There's health benefits, mental health. People use it, cancer patients to help them out as well. So you know what? I think it should be legal 100%. I can't think of a reason why it shouldn't especially when we're talking about alcohol. Like, let's talk about drinking for a second. Like, I think it's more dangerous to consume alcohol than smoking marijuana. 100%, I think that. And I've always thought that.
Or cigarettes.
So that's my main point about this. But to answer the question, 100% should be legal everywhere in the United States.
Yes, I agree with that one. And my reasoning is because, and I just want everybody to know that, make no mistake about it, Big Pharma is real, okay? Marijuana has positive effects on people with pain. This is why they get approved for medical marijuana. But if you made it, completely legal, they wouldn't even have to depend on the hospitals or anything like that. They could just go and get a dime sack and, smoke to their heart's content. They got that knee pain, they got that back pain. They're looking for a way to deal with it. Boom, there you go. But the reason why I bring up Big Pharma is because they don't want you dependent on marijuana. They want you dependent on what they shovel out. They want you to develop that pill addiction. They want you to develop
Pills.
that because, so you shoving 3, 4, 5, 8 kinds of pills in you to deal with it, and the issue still hadn't gone away. Now you done developed, a bad kidney or whatever because you've been on all these pills for so long, or you develop a legit habit, they want you dependent on them. To me, that's part of the reason why they won't legalize it. Should it be legalized everywhere? Absolutely. If you can legalize alcohol, which a lot of people say is inherently more dangerous, you should legalize marijuana.
Interesting enough, of course, you're asking me if I think this should be true. Of course, obviously. That's, to be honest with you, but it's an emotional, it makes you calm and relaxes yourself. So even for people that are depressed, that get pills shoved down their throat, if they were able to get weed, who knows what could have happened to them? They may be able to sustain at that moment because it relaxes your mind. It allows you to just, be in this space for a little bit. And at the end of the day, I think, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but I feel like hippies were people that were maybe depressed at one point in time and found a way to release, and that came through enjoying life, like weed and everything like that, because they're not on pills, they're just enjoying life, and that's what weed makes you do. And like you said, it helps. And of course they want you to continue. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but it will. It should be.
Yeah.
Dominic?
Should definitely be legal. It's on its way there. The reason that it took so long to get beyond, California and then Colorado and eventually Michigan to even get decriminalized, unlike tobacco and alcohol, marijuana is not addictive. It's not killing people with, cirrhosis, liver failure, lung cancer, which then, as Jay said, Big Pharma and the insurance companies, if you get people hooked on cigarettes and alcohol, then you can raise their insurance rates because because they get chronic diseases, which that doesn't happen with marijuana. One thing I will say, though, and this is like real life experience, I think part of the holdup with it is that there's no way to test for the presence or being under the influence of marijuana on like a traffic stop. Because for one, I would much rather drive slightly buzzed on alcohol than marijuana. If I'm baked, I'm not driving because it freaks me out. And I was like, I'm going to crash. I'm going to die. But it's taken a while. But, now with the government getting their cut from the dispensaries where weed is legal, because the other thing was always how can the government make money on it? And that's why it started getting decriminalized, because people without cards would go to, it's no different than going to the city to buy a dime bag of some swag, but instead it's one of your friends growing much better pot, and they're doing that all under the radar without the government knowing. Hence why Michigan especially, they're like, oh no, we'll just make it legal and tax the hell out of it, and that's fine. Marijuana's not even a drug.
We pretty much unanimously agree that sorry, I had a moment. That weed should be legal.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that was easy.
It's like the easiest non-sports topic.
I mean, that was kind of easy.
But everybody had different takes, and that's what was so great about
Yeah.
this, because we all agreed, but we literally had like 4 different points. And then you got Pastor Tyler going off in the comments talking about the devil's lettuce, so, and calling hippie smell, man. Tyler definitely
that Tyler was an ordained minister.
That was why it took so long. That was why it took so long for California to even get medical marijuana, because the reefer madness and all that. Like, what the precursor to the DEA? It was called the FBN. Once prohibition got repealed, the FBN was about to disappear. Like, their budget got cut by like 90%. So they went after marijuana with all these propaganda films. And when you have former when it was still mostly illegal nationwide, and you've got former DEA agents saying, yeah, we think we get between 10 and 12% of all incoming illegal marijuana. 10%, and your budget is in the billions.
Can you guys remember the last time somebody
billions
died?
with a B?
Can you remember the last time somebody died over weed overdose?
Never heard of it.
It's never happened.
I've never heard of it.
You can't overdose on marijuana.
Yeah, never heard of it.
It's not possible. It's just like a killer whale has never killed a human in the wild.
It's entirely possible to drink, because it happened when I was in the military. It's entirely possible to drink too much water and die, but you can't die from smoking too much weed.
You can die from doing something extremely dumb from smoking weed, but the actual smoking of the weed is not going to kill you.
No.
So
that doesn't happen, though. That's alcohol.
Surely in today's society,
you might order too much pizza.
It could happen.
And surely with today's society, and we couldn't look at somebody's brain and assess what best type of strain could better assist whatever is bothering them, because they do it all the time with the medical marijuana. So
what are you guys' thoughts about, all these psychologists and stuff that will prescribe whatever, like, antidepressants and stuff, and then someone goes to them and tells them that they want to smoke weed for anxiety instead of like putting all these random drugs that they don't know anything about, like, in their body? Like, is that like a valid reason to try to get like medical marijuana? What do you guys think?
I think so. Instead of shoving 5-6 different pills in your system, which may or may not even work.
I don't even know what they put in these antidepressants, to be honest.
Exactly, and people get addicted to them. People get addicted to them, those as well. And they're shoving these pills in their system and everything, when they can just smoke one joint and be good.
It's not in the doctor's best interest. The doctor doesn't get kickbacks from the dispensaries. They get the kickbacks from the drug companies for prescribing their drugs.
He died from your...
I'm done.
No, but seriously, the Lord is good.
Yeah.
The Lord is very good, man. Does anybody have anything else they want to say before we go?
That's it. We can wrap up.
Tyler's comment has me speechless.
I don't know what overcame Tyler tonight, but he's acting different. Like, I actually didn't know this guy was an ordained minister. I'll have to tune into his sermons on Sunday.
Yeah, he might be YouTubing one at like 7 a.m.
He's also a tattoo artist.
Pastor with tattoos. Crazy times.
You can't judge. Who said you come as you are?
Only God can judge.
And what
only
is
God can judge, bro?
All right, you guys.
What's up, Kirk? No, Tyler didn't get baptized. He did the baptizing.
He's baptized, yeah.
He's been baptized.
All right,
he's a man of God, for real.
Tyler the Baptist.
JoJo, you ain't got nothing to say? Oh, he bounced. Never mind.
So much to the
All
All right, guys.
left.
We'll see you next Friday, same time. Gonna have another great show.
Wednesday.
Oh yeah, and the picks. Can't
Yep.
forget about that.
Picks Wednesday. Tune in. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Holla at your boys. We out.